The biggest ongoing mystery of Disney's new DuckTales series has surrounded the fate of a single character, Donald Duck's sister and the mother of Huey, Dewey, and Louie, Della Duck. Throughout the first and second season, we've been given glimpses into her past and personality, hints of who she is found in old paintings, pictures, notes, and flashbacks. But apart from a few teasing clips, we still don't completely know what happened to her, how she got to where she is now, and if she's going to be okay. We're going to find out really soon. Disney recently shared a clip from an upcoming episode that promises to shed some light on the mystery of Della Duck. But because this covers things that haven't happened yet, new storylines, consider everything said in this video from this point on complete spoiler territory. So far, we don't know a lot about the fate of Della Duck. We know she was adventurous and rebellious. We know that she found out that Uncle Scrooge secretly built her experimental rocket, and then she took it for a joyride. We know that in that rocket, she got lost in a cosmic storm, and that she eventually wound up stranded on the moon. But we don't know a whole lot about how that happened, or what she's been doing. And that seems to be the focus of the upcoming March 9th episode titled Whatever Happened to Della Duck. The promotional preview Disney put out of that episode shows Della's first moments after she crashed on the moon. Her leg is trapped under the wreckage of her ship, her helmet is cracked, and she's running out of oxygen. It's a dramatic scene that immediately asks a question that one might have had if they played the old DuckTales game for the Nintendo Entertainment System back in the 90s. An important question. How does one survive on the moon without a helmet? Della has a very Disney afternoon answer. You chew gum, of course. Gyro Gearloose's Oxy Chew Gum isn't just a great gag for DuckTales. It's also a reference to the 2013 remake of that old Nintendo game, which finally explained how Scrooge was able to hunt for treasure on the moon without suffocating.
Now, Gyro, why in blazes are we chewing this awful blue muck?
Why, that's Oxy Chew, Mr. McDuck. 5 good chews and you can breathe on the lunar surface without a spacesuit.
Oxygenated gum might be a life-saving treat, but Gyro's choice in flavor is questionable at best.
Ugh, black licorice!
The preview clip isn't very long, but it is filled with promise. Hints about what happened to Della, hope that she might start her journey and get back to her family. But for everything that's exciting about that clip, what excites me the most is what's not in that scene. By that, I mean that this clip shows what happened to Della, but not when it happened. Because we know she's been gone ever since Huey, Dewey, and Louie hatched, we naturally assume that she's been stranded on the moon for that whole time. 10 years alone, rebuilding her ship, growing out her hair. But what if that's not the case? What if Della's only been on the moon for a year or two, or even just only for a few months? It's a theory that may be a bit of a long shot, but I have my reasons for thinking that the timetable of Della's stranding isn't as clear-cut as we think it is. For instance, we know that not long after she disappeared, Scrooge sent fleets of ships into space to look for Della, launching a search so expansive that it nearly left him bankrupt. If all of Scrooge's resources were dedicated to finding Della, to me, it's inconceivable that he wouldn't have looked for her in the one place in space nearby that she could have crash landed, the moon. So why didn't he find her? I can only think of one answer: the cosmic storm. So far, DuckTales hasn't gone into much detail about how Scrooge's search for Della went. But from what we have seen, I think it's safe to assume that the rocket searching for Della didn't face the same pan-galactic precipitation that threw the Spear of Selene off course. And whatever happened to Della in that storm made it so those search parties couldn't find her when they tried to retrace her steps. Could it be possible that Della hit some sort of cosmic speed bump that bounced her into the future? It might seem like a stretch, but it kind of fits in with Della's origins. Della isn't around too much in Disney Duck comics, but the version of her we see on DuckTales borrows heavily from a particular anniversary comic. In that story, Della is a test pilot and she takes an experimental rocket into space. And just like in the new DuckTales series, she gets lost. But at some point, her family finds a way to contact her. But due to time dilation, she's been experiencing the flow of time differently from them. And what's only been a few minutes or maybe an hour of a space flight for Della has been almost 10 years back home. It's an incredibly bittersweet story, because Huey, Dewey, and Louie get to learn that their mother is safe, and they even get to talk to her. But she doesn't know that she's been experiencing time differently from everyone else. In that comic, Della still thinks her kids are still babies, and she's looking forward to when she gets home from that flight and seeing her kids later that day. And it's a little devastating, because the boys know this, and she doesn't. And so to spare her feelings, they just act like they're local neighborhood kids. They don't tell her that she's talking to her own children, half grown up. If DuckTales is taking the same path as that old comic, it might explain why Della is so surprised to see Huey, Dewey, and Louie on TV.
Boys?
On the other hand, this theory could be completely wrong. In addition to the clip that we've been talking about now, the Disney Channel put out a promo for the March 9th episode showing Della seeming to survive on the moon on her own long term, struggling to fix things, struggling to set up camp, and even leaving video diaries for her family. That clip is really exciting too, and seems to take a lot of hints from the 2015 film The Martian, where a man needs to survive alone on Mars for several years. Whether I'm right or not, this episode looks to be a really fun, self-contained Della story, picking up right where we left off at Scrooge's flashback and seeing what happened to her. I don't know if it'll be compressed time, like I think it is, or really show her struggling through the years to get ready to come home. But it seems like a really fun episode regardless, and I'm looking forward to watching the whole thing when it comes out in March. That's all I really have to say for today about these previews though, just that I have this little fan theory I've been cooking for a while that they're going to borrow that time dilation from the comic and bring it over to this series. And I don't know if I hope that happens or not, because on one hand, it'll mean that Della didn't miss her kids for as long, but it'll still be sad because she'll have missed out on years of their life. Either way, really looking forward to it. And as always, thanks for watching and keeping up with these theories and videos. Let me know what you think is going to happen in the episode in the comments below, and until we get to see it though, just remember, take it easy out there, Internet.